Chris, hello.
Hello, Chris.
How how are things going now with FramePoint? Basically, things must have changed a little bit, I would have thought, with COVID. I mean, from what I understood originally when we sat in Nottingham talking about it, it was very much designed for the installer to sit in front of the customer and show them what Windows would look like and so on. That must have changed surely during COVID. Has it become more remote?
I'm glad you remembered that key thing, actually, Chris, about the engagement with the customer, because that's kind of like number one. So I'm gonna remind you, if I may. I know I bored you to tears with this already, but it is about that moment. So if I fire up the app here, so I don't know if you can see the screen okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll remember all this, but I've kind of set this up with a random range of products here, and you can, as you remember, you can set this up for kind of any product, PVC, aluminium, steel, timber, anything, really easily. But the key thing is, coming through to your point, that it was all designed around the whole idea of engaging with that customer. And I remember, as you say, sitting with you in Nottingham and doing this for the first time and seeing your eyes light up, And I never tire of doing it, as you know. I've been doing it for nearly 8 years now, and it still brings a smile to my face. So the point being that you can free sketch, just literally just like sketching on a pad, any product, any window, any door, and thereafter just engage with the thing. That's not a technical thing. As you rightfully say, this is about engaging the client. This is kind of a piece of theatre, because as soon as you do this stuff, as soon as you are able just to tap and change and say, oh, which way round do you want the handles? Do you like them this way? Do you like them that way? The customer's involved, they're completely involved in the thing. Of course, when you start changing the colour and things like this, it gets even more engaging, So yeah, you're absolutely right. The original conception was all about that piece of theatre and getting the customer to get their heartbeat rising, when you're in front of them, So then, lockdown came along, and I think, like everybody else, we had that moment of, what's this going to do for our business? And the story is really interesting. So that we had, as soon as lockdown came, it went completely dead, and we had a couple of weeks at the end of March where, has the world completely ended? But then, of course, the kind of penny dropped, that this piece of theatre that we've got in the app and this kind of exciting interface works equally well in the kind of format that we're talking in now, as it does when we're kind of sitting on the client's sofa. So I guess it was our customers that told us that, increasingly what we saw, and perhaps I'll share the numbers with you, but what we saw was suddenly, from about the beginning of April, the numbers, the quotes and the quote volumes on the app going up and up and up and up. And it was subscribers finding their new way, which was, of course, sharing screens, but still making use of this wonderful engaging app. So, hooking up, sharing screens, which is equally easy to do on a PC as it is on a tablet. Free drawing the windows with the client remotely, tapping and seeing it change. Also, of course, the power of our visualizer, where they can see the products in situ. We could see again in the numbers, those volumes really ramping up through lockdown. So it gave us kind of great encouragement, really. And whereas I suppose the thing started internally with the subscribers we'd already brought onto the platform finding their new way, it then became a magnet for others as well. And we really, strangely, and always a bit strange to say really, but through lockdown we really did have a good time of it business-wise. We attracted a lot of new subscribers, and we saw the volumes from existing subscribers really ramp up.
So how does this work though? If you're talking to a customer at home, you're an installer,
Yes.
Do they have to download some form of app, or how does that work? Was that originally in the software?
Well, of course, we've all become the funny thing is, of course, all of us, and I'm as non-techie as anyone, as strangely as a leader of a software business. I'm a double glazier, not a software person, so all of this is as new to me as anybody. But we became quickly familiar, didn't we, with this kind of way of talking. You know, we use Zoom, we use Join Me. I think I'm right in saying I could share my screen now pretty easily, like this. Fire up a copy of Tommy Trinder. We might have done a little bit of pre-work so that we've perhaps asked you to email over a picture of your house, for example. And when we hook up and share screens, maybe your house is already on the screen. You know, that's always very engaging. And we can start dragging windows over. And this is the experience that, you know, homeowners have been having, you know, chatting to their local installers whilst seeing their house made over in a video call, you know.
So yeah, it's just as simple as that then, basically. So there's no app for them to download. They can do it over Zoom or Teams or whatever. Is that how it works?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, all of the technology around working remotely is there, isn't it? And our app is cloud-based, so it's just simply sharing with clients, you know, that interface remotely. And as I say, I think, you know, the thing is the wow is still there, perhaps in a funny kind of way, even more so, you know.
How did the installer, who isn't particularly techie, presumably,
Yeah,
talking to a customer, a homeowner who may be aged like myself, and trying to get them to look at a screen and sort out how to use Zoom and so on, and be able to then look at it. How did that all happen? Because presumably that's not easy.
it's not easy, and who'd have thought it, I guess, you know, who'd have thought that could ever have really happened, you know. But I mean, my 82-year-old father is talking to his 80-year-old sister via WhatsApp now, you know. I mean, things changed, didn't they? And they changed really quickly. And it was a kind of, I suppose, a little bit of needs must. I mean, there was that heart in the mouth moment, I think, for installers when it first happened. You know, there's a moment of what is going to happen, you know, how are we going to find a way to carry on? And I suppose I know people have got to acquire new technical skills, but we kind of all had to do it, and we all had to do it pretty fast. And some didn't, of course. Some sort of went into kind of hibernation and waited for it to blow over. But I guess the more kind of entrepreneurial ones immediately thought, I've got to get a grip with this. This is a new normal, in inverted commas, and I've got to own it, and I've got to learn those skills a bit quick. And as we can see in the numbers, it you know, it came to pass.
Yeah, see, it's interesting, isn't it? You talk about the new normal there. I even wonder whether it'll go back to the way it was before, because certainly I'm finding I don't have to drive around the country and everything to be able to talk to you and do an interview. It's saving me time, money, and it must be the same with installers who must say, hold on a minute, I can stay in my office or even at home and talk to my customers.
Yeah.
I don't have to drive out and see them. Is this the new normal? Is this going to be the way it is in the future?
The feedback we're getting, Chris, from our subscribers is that I think it'd be wrong to say that it will completely replace, you know, face-to-face selling, but I think remote selling will be part of the double glazing sales armory forever. You know, it will be an option because there's certain customers that prefer it, etc. But digging deeper and coming back to your fundamental point, you know, there are so many advantages, as you rightfully say, for everybody, and particularly for double glazing installers. And I think there was a number of drivers at play anyway. If you think about it, one of the key things is the scarcity of the double glazing salesman as a resource. Bizarrely, you know, we're all getting older. You know, we've all been in the game selling these windows for flipping decades now. You know, how long can we go on? And yet people aren't coming up behind us. So, and if they are, if we're lucky enough to be attracting young people into our businesses, they're far more comfortable with this method of engagement. So I think there's an issue there. There's also a cost issue, as you rightfully say. You know, double glazing salespeople are historically pretty expensive, and that, you know, a good customer service orientated person, perhaps from a retail background, because sadly, there's plenty of those kind of becoming available. Would expect, let's face it, would deliver a great customer experience at a lower cost via this medium. So I think those drivers are there. I'll tell you what I think, and you mentioned driving around. I think the elephant in the room is the environment, actually, because this is a carbon-free way of selling, isn't it? It really makes sense. Could it become almost a little bit politically incorrect to go chugging around in my car to sell stuff? In the same way that suddenly plastic bags became a little bit kind of politically incorrect. Is this the moral way, the best way, the ethical way to sell? And if that comes to pass, that could be a real paradigm shift. That could be a step change for the industry, I think.
I mean, did you actually have to change the software at all with this new normal, as you describe it, or was it all there as you put it in originally?
I think I think fortunately it was all there. There was very little we needed to do. I mean, what we found once our kind of, you always get that core of real enthusiasts and adopters, don't you? And they were giving us the message, guys, this is brilliant. We can really sell with this. This is the tool for now. And once we've got our heads around that, the bit that we really just had to reorientate was the training and support that we gave to others. We just had to spread the word, really. And just make sure everybody understood that, how to do it. And like you say, we found ourselves stepping through people how to use Zoom, how to use Join Me, how to use Calendly to allow people to book and place appointments into salespeople's diaries remotely. We gave some assistance on how to generate leads for remote selling demonstrations. So the app itself, fortunately, lent itself really well to the change, but all the soft stuff around it really kind of engaged us for a good 3 or 4 months, really.
What about the products that are on there? I mean, I know you've got DeKernick on there, for instance, and so on, but have you got all the systems companies' products on there now, or do you rely on someone coming to you wanting to put their products on and therefore you get that system on? Or do you go to the systems companies and say, let's have all your products on here, then I can go out to people and say, I've got all the Epwin products, I've got all the DeKernick products, I've got all the, all of the stuff that's there?
Our journey on that was pretty profound, really. I mean, when I started the business, my starting point was just that we'd have to engage with manufacturers, upload their data, make it available to their clients. And we tried that. We kind of went to market with that business model, and then about halfway through the launch process, we could feel that there was some stickiness in there. We knew we had this wonderful tech, and it was really amazing, people, but it was hard work. And then I had a bit of a kind of light bulb moment. It was about halfway through last year. I thought, no, this is not about the fabricator. This is about the installer. The installer has a plethora of different products, and what they really need is one wrapper that can glue it all together. PVC, aluminium, sash windows, casement windows, flush casements, bifold doors, that they really need. There was actually a sense that there was a bit of software fatigue already in the market, and when I was turning up to installers with yet another piece of software, it was like, oh, this is great, but it's another piece of software that will only order me this one set of products from this one manufacturer. But what, that's just almost adding to my problems. So literally probably was about a year ago now, we kind of put the brakes on. We went back to the drawing board and rethought it a little bit in response to installers' feedback, and developed a module called My Products, which allows installers to set up any product in any material really, really quickly. And people always think that there's got to be some sort of catch, but what we found was, by asking relatively simple series of questions, we could render photorealistically pretty much any product in PVC and aluminium. So I won't bore you with the detail, but our mantra in the business is minutes, not months. You have to be able to do it in minutes, not months. We've always waited too long for things to be done when it comes to software in this industry. So in minutes, not months, you can set up any product with a few clicks, brand it. The interface that I showed you just now, you're right, had De Koenig on there as a brand, but it's up to me to upload that brand and that image. I can make it look exactly as I want to, really, really quickly. And suddenly, when I pop onto the screen, I have essentially my online catalog to hand, branded the way I want to sell it, and covering my entire range of products. And once we've done that kind of U-turn and went back to installers, fortunately, with some relief, the floodgates started to open, and it seemed to be the product that installers have been waiting for. The multiple products in one app, easily set up. I can do this in minutes, get out there and start selling my entire range.
Is this done by photographs of all these products? You talk about rendering them. So are you doing it virtually, or do you have to go to the systems companies and get pictures of every product they've got and so on?
It's a combination, actually. So our technology virtually renders all of the profile sections. So we build that into the software such that we can show an ovalo from a bevel, from a square section at various sizes, and we can, through the code inside of things, photorealistically render any of that. Then, of course, the finishes is another aspect, and all of these things take a tremendous amount of time. But with the finishes, we scan coloured foils, and we've scanned hundreds and hundreds of these now, and then we overlay those onto the image. So again, that's a sort of job done. But there is an element where we have to obtain photographs, and that's for things like ostensibly the hardware. So we're building all the time a library in conjunction with ironmongery suppliers of all of the major components in the industry in that regard, so that people can switch between the monkey tail and the pewter handle and the simple sort of standard wire handle and see the differences. But those do rely on getting images. So that's an ongoing job, but we have resource dedicated to that. So if ever one of our customers says, hang on, you haven't got that handle I need on that bifold door, we work with them to locate an image, usually in conjunction with the ironmongery supplier, and we get it uploaded, often the same day. Colours, we're not asked for colours much now because we've got so many, but we can usually do those within the hour. So we've got pretty good at that bit.
Sorry, if I'm an installer, right, who's been watching you today, looking at this and thinking, hold on, this sounds like a really good idea to get this FramePoint software, but I don't know whether you're going to have the images of the products that I'm selling. I don't know that. Sure. How quickly, could I come on and say to you, look, I sell these products, and you might say, well, I haven't got that system in at the moment. How quickly could I then get my products there and be ready to use the software?
Well, it will literally, the only gaps will be ironmongery. System-wise, I'm touching wood, but we're never caught out. I've got to be honest. From steel lookalike aluminium to PVC, which is molded in different ways of different proportions, we can cope with it. So it's very, very. I can't actually, touching wood again, I can't remember an instance where we're caught out in that regard. The only thing, as I say, might be that there's some piece of ironmongery, some specialist piece of ironmongery that we haven't got currently in the library, and we've worked with a new subscriber to get that sorted within days. And we do have a little we have what's called a special item function as well, which if you do have a really specialist product that you have to design in perhaps another piece of software, we do have a way of allowing our subscribers to import an image as well as a special item. So there's a kind of a little workaround for those real edge cases. But barring those, everything really is there, pretty much from the get-go, really.
So if you're doing windows, doors, bifolds, and so on, does it also extend as far as roofline products?
Good question. No, it doesn't currently, and I've got to be open. Currently, it doesn't deal with conservatory roofs either, actually. It works very well with the walls, but not the roofs. So again, our subscribers would make use of that special item feature, actually, which would allow them to add a roofline product, enter a cost for it, and see it appear as a line within the quote. So there is a way of staying within the app. For all of those things. So, you know, the solid conservatory roofs, for example, we've seen subscribers making use of the special item for that, because you can upload an image of that that product, pop a cost in, and as I say, see it appear within the quote. So there's ways and means for all those peripheral products, but and so there has to be, because, you know, that's the thing, you know, we want one way. We're fed up of tap dancing with a sort of a plethora of sales aids and pieces of software, and I've got to go online for that, price this one from a price, but, you know, you have to kind of be, you don't find yourself dancing around the customer's home to try and explain everything, and that's no good. You know, we do need to be able to funnel it through one app at the end of the day, just to stay sane, really.
We all know that when it comes to a downturn in the economy and companies are looking at their costs and things, the first thing they do is, rather stupidly in my mind, cut the marketing.
Yeah.
Now, are customers of yours, are they treating this as a marketing cost, or which they can do without, or are they treating it as a sales opportunity and cost that they need to spend?
No, that's a good question, actually. I mean, you know, look, the entry level for the products is £95 a month. You know, there's no outlay. What I mean is, there's no, you know, you're not handing over thousands of pounds up front. It's literally £95 a month at the entry level, and you can cancel any time. So, you know, the break-even point is really low, and the stories that we're getting from installers is really kind of quite simple. Really, it saves me time, it minimises error, and it increases my conversion rates. And actually, to be honest with you, you only probably need one of those to be true in order to cover your £95 a month. You know, if you took one order a year, you've probably paid for your software. You know, so we work obviously really hard to get people engaged and trained so that they can get some benefit out of it.
Do they pay extra for the training? I mean, if it's £95 a month as an opening gambit, does that include training, or do they then pay on top of that training?
It very much includes training. We see that as completely central to what we do. So we deliver it in a couple of ways. When a new subscriber comes on board, we like to actually do this kind of thing where we share screens and we hook up. We try and focus on their specific needs. We like to get 2 pieces of information from a client. What's your biggest selling product? And what's the biggest bit of pain that you want FramePoint to take away? And then we try and focus. There's a lot to FramePoint now. It's quite a broad product. As I say, we've been developing it for about 8 years. But we try and focus the training. Our training sessions begin with, right, we know you sell a lot of residence line casements, and we really know that the one thing you want to do is cut out the error in your business and cut down the cost of non-conformance in the business. So what we're going to do, our training session, about 30 minutes, we're going to focus on those 2 things. That's been a little bit of a learning curve. We found that once we started doing that, we can get people engaged from the get-go, because you're delivering training that really impacts on the business, you know. So that's a sort of setup, kind of one-to-one, free, unlimited. And we've got some amazing stats. I think it's about half of our subscribers have sort of 4 or 5 of these one-to-one training sessions, which is great. We're happy to do that, and it just means that, you know, we can really engage and get the thing working together. And the other thing is a live chat service. So when you're within the app, it's just a touch of a help icon, and you can chat live to our team. Or, how do I put a triple vent in that window? Can you remind me how to do a bay window? And we reply instantly to that. And it's phenomenal. Nobody reads the guidebook anymore, do they? None of us. Yeah, that's a modern phenomenon. We do when we want help. We really want it. You know, we want it now. And we can do that through the live chat. It seems to be effective.
But that's quite a big commitment for you, isn't it? It takes a lot of time and therefore money to do it, and from quite a low level of subscription. That's a big commitment.
Yeah, I mean, it's the story of the business, really. You know, the business is actually, a big investment all around in a way to win a customer and to get them engaged. But I guess the payback comes if you can build loyalty, and £95 a month is not a lot, but if that customer pays you for 5 years, it becomes a valuable order. So you can't skimp on that. There's no shortcut. You have to invest to to win and maintain customers, and that's the nature of our business, really. And also because of the industry we're in. We are in a lo-fi industry. We as I say, I'm no techie, we're no techies. We've had to adapt, and we're going to get nowhere really unless we can pander to that and make sure we can kind of bring people with us.
Yeah, one of the problems that I can see is that basically the installer is working for himself, and the last thing he wants to do is tell another installer what great software you've got, because he wants to jealously guard it. Whereas we know an awful lot of sales these are done by recommendation. Is that a problem for you, in that you're not going to get recommendations simply because people want to keep it to themselves?
It's a really pertinent question. You know what? We're so lucky. Once you get people excited about this product, they do become a little bit evangelical about it, and maybe it's not in their best interest, but bless them, they do support us with some wonderful testimonials. So what we've started to do is, again, in the modern world, operating very low tech over Zoom, we've started to get some feedback. So this is a nice little installation company in the Midlands that have adopted FramePoint.
Since using the FramePoint, we've had nothing but excellent feedback. People love it. I sold my first house full of windows within 2 hours of having it. My name's Andy Farrington. I'm the Managing Director of Bradley Scott Windows, based in Tamworth, Staffordshire. With FramePoint, it's dramatically increased our conversion rates. The amount of customers that have just said, we've come to you because of your presentation, it's been really good, worth every penny. I don't even walk in the house now with a tape measure. I just walk in with an iPad and they look at you. Don't worry. As soon as I pull up at a property, we'll take a photo of the house, not necessarily tell the customer what we've done, and then we'll go in, ask them what they want, draw the window. Is that the style? Yeah. We're still undecided on colour. Well, not a problem. There's it with the white. Wow. And it just blows them away. Well, we're using FramePoint now a hell of a lot for remote selling. I went to Tommy Trinder during the lockdown. The phones had stopped ringing. Everyone's panicking. So I approached Tommy Trinder, had an half-hour training session with them, but I was hooked. I thought, right, not only am I going to have it, I had the video done. They do a video where they put my name in it, and the amount of work it fetched me in. I went to market, I hit it, and the phones just bang. And people were loving it. They come on with screen share. I say to them, well, send me a picture of your house before the Zoom. Why do you need that? Just send me a picture. And then bang. And they would just love it. We were using, a competitor at FramePoint. Before we'd have to do 2 quotes, one for aluminium, bifolds, one for patios, one for vertical sliders. Whereas now, it's just all on one app. My salesman, not the best at paperwork, whereas now, he cannot fail. It's just saved us hours. Absolutely love it.
Do you know, Chris, that's going to be a very good place to leave it. I mean, that's kind of says it all, doesn't it, really?
Great.
Been absolutely brilliant talking to you again.
Thanks, Chris.
I think eloquent and elegant as ever. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Chris.
Look forward to seeing you face to face for a coffee when the world allows us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, then.